Hello, welcome to Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video we're going to be comparing the Nike Infinity Run 3 and the Saucony Tempus. So these are both cushioned daily training shoes that have stability elements or are a full stability shoe in the case of the Tempus. The Nike is the cheaper shoe, it's £145 in the UK, $160 in the US, whereas the Tempus is £165 in the UK, $160 in the US. Tempus is the lighter shoe, it's 279 grams or 9.8 ounces in my UK size 9, whereas the Nike is 310 grams or 10.9 ounces. They both have an 8mm drop. That's certainly true in the Saucony. Pretty sure the Infinity is an 8mm drop, but it's sometimes hard to get confirmed information about Nike shoes. Comes to the design of the shoe, the Tempus has Saucony's top Power Run PB foam running through its midsole, but it's also got a Power Run frame, which is a firmer, less dynamic but more stable foam, and really it's in there to create a stable frame to the shoe to surround the soft and bouncy Power Run PB. You've also got these side walls of foam your foot sits within and a fairly wide base, both of which are designed to make it a stable shoe. A bit of a rocker design going on to increase the fluidity of the ride of the shoe, and a lightweight mesh upper with a good amount of padding around the heel there and on the tongue, but not quite as much as on the Nike. Then you've got an XD900 rubber outsole that is not full coverage but does give you good durability and grip in all the key areas. The Infinity Run is not a full stability shoe like the Tempus, but it is a very stable, neutral shoe. It's got a full React foam midsole, which is a fairly firm and stable foam anyway, and it's also got a very wide base, big plastic heel clip, and a really quite exaggerated rocker design, all of which is designed to create a pretty stable and flowing ride. You've got a Flyknit upper on the shoe with some flywire cables to improve the fit around the midfoot in the newest version of the shoe, and then a very well padded tongue and heel on the shoe there. You've got this kind of splotchy rubber outsole, which looks a bit kind of odd, but has been very effective in terms of grip and durability in all three versions of the Infinity so far. Okay, I am now joined by Tom Wheatley of Chicago Marathon fame. Tom, how do you find the fit of these two shoes?
Fit for these two shoes is true to size for both of them. I find them pretty comfortable shoes. Slightly different in the way that they're set up because you've got this sort of sock-like feel to the top of the Infinity. But yeah, true to size, both of them I think are very comfortable.
Both fit me, true to size as well. I think they have really nice hold throughout the shoe around the midfoot and collar, no problems there. The quick note on the Infinity Run's tongue, which was very easy to rip off in the second version, seems a little bit harder to rip off in the third version, so that's an improvement if you're someone who yanks on the tongue. But yeah, in general, true to size, very happy. On to the run test. Now, Tom, we picked out these two shoes to compare because they are fairly stable options. Well, in fact, the Tempus is basically just a stability shoe, but it's not a traditional stability shoe. It's got a slightly more neutral shoe feel to it, we'll say that. And then the Infinity Run is a stable neutral shoe, got lots of stability elements in it, like the heel clip. Both have got big wide bases, sidewalls of foam, all that. So you're not a stability shoe user in general, neither am I, but how did you find running in these two shoes?
Well, I'll start with the Infinity Run because I think this is a fine shoe, does the job. It does feel very stable. That React foam midsole is, it's quite firm. Really feels like your foot's in place. I don't think I find it a particularly inspiring ride. When I run in this, I'm not thinking this is enjoyable. I'm not thinking this is in any way cushioned or soft. It's not massively hard either. It just sort of sits in that netherworld of being fine. That's it, really. I actually use this shoe quite a lot for just going to the gym and stuff in because it is just a stable, good shoe. You can pretty much use it for anything. But yes, fairly uneventful on the run. Now, the Saucony Tempus. Now, this is an interesting shoe because when we get stability shoes in, quite often they're not very enjoyable to run in. And you get those sort of full-on stability shoes like the Gel Kayano 29, which I've just got in, and you put it on, and instantly you go, "This is a stability shoe." I can tell it's a stability shoe because I'm not really enjoying running in this shoe. Sometimes they get a bit better, but in reality, stability shoes historically aren't that enjoyable to run in. But the Saucony Tempus is enjoyable to run in. I really like this shoe. I started using it during marathon training, and I was doing mix of long runs, easy runs, like interval sessions, and I tried it in pretty much every run that I was doing, and it wasn't amazing at like interval sessions or anything like that, but I didn't hate it for that. I would never dream of using the Asics Gel Kayano 29 for an interval session. But I found that from comments that we've had on the channel and stuff, it's a bit of a divisive shoe as well. I actually find it. I think it doesn't ride like a stability shoe. It rides like a cushion shoe with just maybe a tiny sprinkling of firmness in it. But it rides like a normal shoe, which I think is fantastic. But you can still feel a bit of that stability in it. It feels like a very stable shoe. So I think I've really enjoyed running in this shoe. That Power Run PB midsole foam just does the job without being stopped by the stability elements in the shoe.
So I fairly similar experience actually. Like the Infinity Run 3 is a dull ride. And I don't say that actually in a negative way. It's a dull ride in that it deadens the impact of the ground. It's got a good rocker to it, so even though the firm's not the most lively, you get a nice smooth run, and I don't know, it almost feels like a sensible shoe. I've always thought this is quite a sensible shoe in that it lasts forever. It's got a very consistent ride. It's stability elements there to protect the legs. And it was always a shoe that I would dig out basically in the latter stages of marathon training when all the exciting shoes are starting to annoy me because I'm just grinding through my 10 miles easy on a Wednesday, stuff like that. It's just the perfect time to dig out a shoe like this where you feel like you're doing the right thing for your body by protecting the legs and giving that stable ride when your whole body's starting to feel a bit unstable in general. And I thought, well, yeah, maybe this is the kind of shoe I should use more. I should recommend to people more, and actually what we should all be using, because you don't deserve excitement on every run. You should have a nice stable shoe to look after yourself. And then the Tempus came along, and I think it kind of shows what you can do with that kind of shoe, in that it's a really fun ride. I think it's got a nice amount of softness and bounciness, but it's not outrageously springy or anything like that. It doesn't feel like the Endorphin Speed, for example, because it's got Power Run PB in there, but it's got the frame of the Power Run foam, which creates that stability, that firmness. But it's surprisingly lightweight. It's a massive cushion shoe, big stack of foam there, but it's surprisingly lightweight. It's got a little bit of a rocker, but not that pronounced. It's got a bit of bounce. It's got a little bit of everything, and it just feels good and light and nimble on the foot, whilst also being stable and protective in the way I start to crave late on in those marathon things. So I was using this in the back end of Berlin training, and I was using it for a mix of runs, but it's actually perfect because with the Infinity, when it came to that time of marathon training, I could only use this for easy runs, really. I've done sessions in it, and it's, if you're doing them on feel or to, RPE or that kind of thing, it's okay because you're not too fussed about time. But when you're starting to, you want to hit time still in those sessions, those tempo runs, the Tempus can do it. I think it's a very versatile cushion shoe in so many ways. It is stable, but it is quite fast. It's very comfortable. You can go very, very slow in the shoe for a long period and feel great. But it has got a bit of pop. It really surprised me, I have to say. This is a shoe probably I started to just get more and more and more this year, and I think it's just a great option for lots of runners. I think if you are maybe thinking you should be a bit more sensible in your next shoe choice, your cushion shoe choice to cruise through miles, and instead of something like the Nike Invincible, which is very fun, you could maybe go for the Tempus, which is quite fun, but probably a little bit better for keeping you stable. Okay, on to the verdicts. Now, start with saying, would you have either of these shoes in your rotation full stop, Tom? Would you be looking for a shoe like this in your rotation? And then if you were, which of it would it be?
Tricky one. Very tricky. I wouldn't have the Infinity Run 3 in my rotation just because I don't need it in my rotation. I use this for sort of general runs at most, but I have shoes that I would always choose over the top of it for every sort of run. So I think the Infinity Run 3 is probably. I know a lot of people that run in the previous versions of this, and they're more sort of general runners, park runners that just want a shoe that's going to last them a long time, do the job for ticking off the miles every now and then, and just feeling very solid and stable. I think it's a good sort of tick it all box shoe for people that just want one shoe to just do general running in. But as a rotation shoe, I don't need it. There's nothing I would use it for really. Saucony Tempus is a difficult one because I'm struggling at the moment because I don't have a stability shoe in my rotation. I've never needed one. But because this is such a good sort of cushion shoe as well, I am veering towards this over some of my cushion shoes now, just because I like the feel of it, and I actually like that little element of stability that goes in it as well. So yes, I think I probably would have the Saucony Tempus in my rotation as a cushioned option.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you there as well. It makes you feel like you're doing a good thing for yourself having a stability shoe. It's all in the mind, but I think I've always used a shoe like the Infinity as an extended rotation shoe. Like I said, it has a very clear use for me, which is certain points of training I crave a firmer, more stable fluid feel like this, and it comes into my rotation. It'd probably be like the fourth or fifth shoe in a rotation. It wouldn't be my, if I had a 3-shoe rotation, it wouldn't be my cushion shoe pick. Tempus has a much stronger claim to be that cushion shoe pick. And even if it wasn't, it would certainly be right on the fringes of being a shoe I'd pick up from a rotation, and I certainly would want to use it. And if I had my druthers and my rotation was 6-7 shoes deep, it would be one of those shoes. Like you say, it feels good, and it's lighter, so much lighter than the Infinity, and actually lots of other cushion shoes, and therefore that just makes it much more comfortable for me to use daily. I like a fairly lightweight shoe. It's got the bounce, it's got the versatility and the stability, which I think is where the Infinity falls short. It hasn't got the versatility. It's a good, stable, neutral shoe for easy runs, but the Tempus is just a bit more. It's a shoe that ticks more categories. I think the only real things that land in the Infinity Run's favour are that it's a much better looking shoe, and you can wear it. I used to wear this everywhere because it's a great shoe for travelling in, looks nice, feels nice on the foot, whereas this is a bit of a block. That's not a big problem. It's a running shoe. The only thing is the Tempus is a fair bit more expensive, and the Infinity is always in sales and does last forever. So if you just want to get like a stable shoe to add to your rotation whilst being mostly a neutral runner, just something to have there for the next 5 years that you pull on maybe 1 or 2 runs a month, then the Infinity will do that job forever and do it at a better price. But if you're using it regularly, I think the Tempus is a lot more fun.
Yeah, another tick in the box for Saucony, like knocking it out of the, what's the phrase?
Knocking it out of the park.
Knock it out of the park this year.
So that's it. That's our comparison of the Infinity Run 3 and the Tempus. Please do let us know what you think of these shoes in the comments below. Please do like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.